Hello and welcome to How to Launch a Profitable Podcast. I just want you to know that you're in the right place today if you've been exploring this world of podcasting, but you want to generate an income while you create an impact. Your messages, you want them to have meaning, but also you want to bring in money for your hard work. So I want you to make the massive impact on the world. And I know in order to make this possible, you need to be profitable. So I'm excited to share with you today the steps that have allowed us to grow to over 4 million downloads since 2020, make multiple six figures using our podcast as an organic traffic source, and impact tens of thousands of women each and every week with the content we share. So the goal during this training is that you can walk away with incredibly tangible advice and support. And we want you to feel confident in using your podcast as a fun and strategic way to create messages and make money. But first, if you click below this training, you can get our free guide with all of our podcasting equipment. We know that tech holds back way too many people from pursuing their podcasting dreams, and we don't want that for you. You don't have to buy a thing. This freebie is all yours. And because we're all about transparency, I'm also going to be sharing a formal invitation with you and a very sweet discount to join our A to Z podcasting program. So whether you're looking to start a podcast to share your values that are on your heart, or maybe you want to support your business adventure, we have you covered. So just know at any time, if you want to join, and you can get started right away. All you have to do is click enroll by going to herselfpodcast.com and clicking on the courses. Make sure to use code WORKSHOP75 to save $75. Okay, so with that, let's dive in. You might be wondering, okay, are there two of you? Who's talking? So yes, I'm Abby, and this is my business partner, Amy, and we are the co-founders of a company and weekly podcast called Herself Podcast. In the last 4 years, we have started 3 podcasts. We have quit our corporate and nursing careers. We have built thriving online businesses that are providing us opportunities we never could have imagined. And you can too. Regardless of what your end goals are, know that podcasting opens up so many doors to impact and to profitability. So today, I'm going to show you how these outcomes are not only possible for you, but they're inevitable when you use our podcasting system to help you grow, nurture, and then sell to the audience using the power of podcasting. So here's the part I want to call you in. I know you're busy. I'm busy too. I know how precious our time is. I want to invite you, my multi-passionate friend. You're probably multitasking right now, but please just dedicate these next 20 to 30 minutes to really getting serious about understanding the impact of podcasting and how you can make money doing it. So just shut down any distractions, click out of all those tabs that you might have open, because we are going to kick this off. If you understand this very first point, it's going to change the way you think about podcasting. So here's what it is. Podcasts have a much larger and longer shelf life than the other ways of connecting with your customer. So I don't know if you knew this, but 2/3 of women in the United States, they listen to podcasts. And the average person listens to more than 5 different topics and genres. You know what else? The majority of those weekly listens aren't in real time when it's released. Listeners go back and will frequently listen to old episodes. You might be one of those people. So what we do is we actually consider podcast platforms search engines for either entertainment, for information, a variety of different things. And maybe you're typing in a how-to for tips on how to handle a toddler tantrum. Or maybe, how do I have this hard conversation with a friend? Or maybe, how do I make more money in my online business? Well, for all those different topics, there are corresponding podcasts and episodes waiting to be listened to. So I want to kick this off with a question. What is it that your ideal listener is typing into that search bar? Because I'm telling you, they are searching on podcast platforms. The 2/3 of women that I talked about before who listen to podcasts in the United States alone, they are searching with a goal in mind, and they're open to finding the podcast that fulfills their need. Maybe it's for information, maybe it's to be entertained, maybe it's for something else. And if you're like, okay, Abby, this is great, but you don't know my topic, well, just do me a little favor. Okay, I know I said to close out all distractions, but grab your phone real quick and open up wherever you listen to podcasts. Maybe that's an Apple, maybe iHeartRadio, maybe you're a Spotify user, maybe it's a different app. But I just want you to type in a keyword that describes what you do, what you serve, who you serve, what your message is going to be for your podcast. Just type in a keyword. What's coming up? I'm telling you, it's going to be coming up for other people when they are searching for a similar offer or when they're searching for something that is similar to your topic. They are going to find you. But right now, you might not be out there. Right now, all those podcasts that are popping up right now, they might have a similar offer or a similar message to yours, and other people are already finding them. So let's start leveraging podcasting because we don't want you to be left behind any longer. Okay, you did some typing. You know what they're looking for? Now put that phone back down. You can always come back to search after this training. I'm telling you, people are waiting for your content, but you need to do your part by making it easy for them to find you. So let's talk about how we do that. In order to have incredible SEO, or that search engine optimization I was talking about, you can be the go-to podcast in your niche if you do it right. Number one, you need to pick the proper category in Apple. And number two, you need to use those keywords in your podcast name, description, show notes, and episode titles. So how do I do this? Inside of Apple, you're going to choose one main category and then multiple subcategories that your podcast might fall into. The main category is important because people choose by interest and they may find you even if they aren't searching for your title specifically. Apple also shows these things called quote unquote categories in its browsing page, which is where your podcast could be displayed. Keep in mind, the category you select needs to make sense for your niche and topic. Second, to find powerful keywords, I'm going to show you one of my favorite hacks. So do this after the training because the first couple times it's free, and then I do think it starts to cost a little tiny bit of money. But after this training, just write this down as a homework assignment. Head to answerthepublic.com. So this is a really awesome website where you can simply type in your niche or topic, and it's going to spit out what people are Googling about that. So for us, we could look up words like parenting advice, working motherhood, marriage, partnership, and see all those keywords that are popping up for other people. So your homework following this training is to start to think of 1 to 2 categories where your podcast would make sense, and then head over to answerthepublic.com and see what people are Googling about your niche or topic. Now, there's another thing you can do that's really powerful in terms of searchability. It's not required, but if you do decide that you want to have guests on your podcasts, I want you to invite the big names in your space on. And you might be thinking, okay, Abby, I'm just starting. A celebrity in my niche isn't going to come onto my show. Well, I'm telling you, it's simply not true. In fact, one of our podcast students, her name's Courtney, she had Maya Vander from Selling Sunset on her podcast. Courtney had less than 100 Instagram followers at the time. She was brand new to podcasting, and she was pitched right. And when you're pitched right, people are so much more willing than you think to come onto your show. We teach you about pitching in our course, so no need to worry about that. We teach you all the steps on exactly how to do that. And when you can capture your listeners and start to build an audience that is it just opens so many doors. It opens doors to profitability. It opens doors to impact. And this could include, on the profitability side, things like sponsors, membership communities, selling your offers, affiliate opportunities, and more. Okay, so now step 2 is all about how to actually create consistent content so that you have a return on the investment of your time. I don't know any successful podcasts out there that aren't consistent. You can't expect listeners to show up for you if you aren't willing to consistently show up for them. So what if you had a system that would allow you to create content week after week with ease? Would that be helpful? Could you see how beneficial that could be? Well, to do this, you need to first understand the pillars that are going to make up your podcast. So before you think about brainstorming episode subjects, it's really important to have 3 to 5 themes within your podcast. So these are the pillars that your podcast is going to stand on. I cannot emphasize the importance of this enough, especially when you start. It's easier to be known for a few things and then expand on them as you grow than it is to try to serve every single subject with your audience, especially when they're new. So think. You can write this down again as homework, but what are 3 to 5 themes that are going to be the anchor points for your show? Jot them down somewhere or add them to your homework following the training. As an example, for the Herself podcast, we know our pillars are motherhood, partnership, and tangible shifts to empower women. So you might see one or multiple of these on every single episode that we release. All right, this next step is to understand how can you continue the conversation with your audience after they've tuned in? So how can you support them in an even bigger capacity? And this usually means making some money. So it could be paid. It could also be free. So maybe something like an online course or a workbook, a juicy guide, a very simple PDF that you could get for free. Just get a little bit creative here. And I want you to start to think about your list of all of the paid and free offers that you either have right now or you want to make someday. It's okay if it's just a thought right now. It means that you're already ahead of the game by thinking about how you can leverage free marketing like podcasting to make money, talking about your purpose and about your passions. And just know, if you don't have any offers right now, your pillars can help guide you on what your offers are or should be. Again, if a pillar in your business was dog training, it would not make sense if you sold a course on how to start podcasts like we do. Your offers, whether they are free or paid, are a fabulous way to go deeper on the topics discussed on your show. And how do you so seamlessly add value to your show? Well, have you ever listened to a podcast and the host says, if you love today's conversation, click the link in the show notes to download my free guide, which will help you accomplish XYZ. Or they'll say something like, head to www.websitename.com to enroll in my program if you like what you heard on today's show. What that podcaster is doing is they're using their offer to then continue the conversation with the listener in another place. The listener is then going to go ahead and change their email, or maybe they'll buy something in order to go deeper on that topic with them. You get a customer and they get more value. It really is a win-win for everyone. Just think about podcasting kind of as online dating. But when you take it off that platform and into your email list or on your paid offer, that's when you're meeting up with the person and taking it to the next level. So here's a few places to get going where the conversation could continue in order to eventually make more impact and make more sales. It could be things like your freebies. When someone says, hey, I couldn't possibly talk about all these different things in this episode, but download this freebie and it walks you through the steps. Maybe even it's just a step-by-step guide that really outlines your episode. It could be your paid programs. Maybe it's an offer, a service, Patreon, an app. Maybe it's your email list, something that you can then sell to them in the future on, or just give them more value week after week or month after month. It could even be something like your social media account, where maybe that's a free thing for them to look at and engage with, but you might be having some more sales over there. Every episode, in order to get to these different things, should have something called a CTA, or a call to action. This is a place where you're going to direct the listener to go a step further with you, and then it's up to the listener to decide if they are ready. But the invitation is always there and it's always known. And this is why pillars are so critical. You're going to serve incredible content on your episode. And at the end, you can make an invitation to explore and enhance the relationship. Again, it doesn't always have to be towards a paid offer. It could even be to follow you on Instagram, hit subscribe to the podcast. But your next homework assignment is going to determine what your pillars are. So the 3 areas that you feel represent your brand, represent your offers, and then the topics that you really feel like you could talk about forever and ever and ever and never run out on. Those are the pillars of your podcast. These are also things that represent your brand. They represent who you are, what your offers are, and again, the things you can just keep on talking about. Okay. Going on, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but this is a strategy that's going to get you noticed, and not many podcasters know about it. So listen up. You're going to use 3 of those pillars when you create your first 3 podcast episodes. However, when you go to launch your episodes, you're actually going to launch 3 of them at one time. That way, when a new listener comes, they know exactly what to expect from you, what your brand and podcast is all about. And when you release all three at once, they can binge them right away, and they're going to be wanting and waiting and eager for you when a new episode drops. It's also great because it tricks the algorithms into seeing that not only one episode per person was downloaded, but 3 episodes per one person was downloaded. And when you do that on day one, it's going to send even more people your way that may not even be looking for your show. It's just going to be showing up for them wherever they listen to podcasts. And right now, if you're like, oh my gosh, Abby, the thought of launching is making me feel so queasy, that's so overwhelming, don't worry. We literally walk you through every single tip and strategy that we have helped hundreds of people who have started podcasts in our program. We're going to chat all about that. If you are someone who's really serious about getting your podcast into the world and you want to do it right, we have the blueprint for you. And as a reminder, you can always join us right away by going to herselfpodcast.com and clicking on our course. Just make sure to use Workshop 75 because it will save you $75 today. Now, if you're like most busy people out there, you're probably thinking, okay, I can see how powerful podcasting is, but I just don't have time to create content. How can I maximize my time and still utilize this powerful platform to build and support my audience? So, what if podcasting was the main source of content that you created, but then multiple pieces of content were created from that one episode? It sounds pretty nice, right? You record once, and then you can use that one-time effort to spread the word about your amazing messages and offers. The content does not stop with one episode. So I'm going to teach you how you can take that one awesome episode and spread it all over the place with very little time and a very little ease on your end. You can have this omnipresence that people are thinking, oh my gosh, how is this person everywhere? How do they do it? So this is what it looks like for us. We record one episode, and from that single episode, we create a complimentary blog post. We send a personalized email to our email list. We create an Instagram reel and an in-feed post, and then we share more to Instagram stories. So you take that one episode and you cut it down into digestible snack content on all those other platforms. They're usually more short form content than podcasts, and undoubtedly you're going to have some spectacular moments, conversations, and one-liners from your episode that you'll want to share elsewhere. You can also take that audio and create content that's going to help you increase your downloads. It also evokes curiosity and brand recognition for you. So all of this is all part of the program and the platform that we have. So the next assignment is going to dive into, where do you want to show up? Okay, so where is your ideal listener right now? Where is your ideal client? And also, where do you like to be? Maybe it's Instagram, blogs, LinkedIn, email, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. Pick 2 that you feel excited about. Maybe these are 2 that you're already using. Maybe they are 2 that you would really like to be on or are curious about. Maybe there are 2 that your ideal listener is literally hanging out on right now. So how do you show up in those places without making it a huge hassle? Well, for writing a blog post, a weekly email, in-feed captions, you can use a very low-cost artificial intelligence to summarize your episode. Okay, it is so easy. It is so fast. You literally can do it in seconds. And to add to this, we also use Riverside for our recording tool. Riverside automatically clips 10 clips for you. So when you see us out on Instagram with these awesome clips, we're not going through editing all of our video. No, we don't have a video editor. We just pay for our audio to get edited, and Riverside, it does it for us. So these, again, are 2 very simple tools that you can use that are super low cost, that make literally your episode go omnipresent across all these different platforms. And it takes minutes on the artificial intelligence side. For Instagram, we create a template. So this is another thing that we use, is something called Canva. You might be familiar with it. And we simply just update the image and text and download it. This takes less than a minute. And that is an entire caption, or it's an entire feed post with the caption that we already use when we are going to our show notes. So a little tip here, you can use AI to create your show notes. Those show notes get copied and pasted into a blog. Same ones get copied and pasted into Instagram. So you're reusing the same content and you're showing up everywhere. If you're someone who really likes video content, again, having something like Riverside is going to make it even easier for you to do. The goal here is that we want you to use your podcast to drive traffic. We want to get eyeballs on your hard work. We want to get you in front of your ideal listener and your dream clients, and they might be hanging out in different places. So why not catch them and leverage the work that you did up front across the board? Just know that you can make an impact and an income through creating searchable content, creating consistent content that hits your core pillars, and number 3, have an omnipresence using one episode to create multiple pieces of content. And know that people create podcasts for all sorts of reasons. And one question we get asked about often is, will this work for my business? So I just want to walk you through some examples so you can start to visualize how a podcast could work for you. So first, I want you to meet Carson and Taryn. They run a virtual and brick and mortar CPA firm. So they were leveraging the power of podcasting to educate their ideal listener and bring new leads in the door. In fact, in 1 year, they can attribute 50 new leads, which that's a lot for a CPA firm. They're accountants, and they are so booked that they can't even accept new clients at the moment because their podcast brought in so many in that first year. They also have a few digital products, so the podcast has been incredibly helpful to support all their new leads that they can't directly work with. They still have offers for them. They have those digital offers they can then supply. You can see what they had to say about our strategies and notice that they were able to get their podcast up and running in just 4 weeks using our course. Next, I want you to meet Lauren and Megan. So they run an incredible business called The Matrescence, and they also have an app to support their customers. So they can start the conversation inside their podcast, and then they continue and expand upon it inside their app. So it's a way that they can directly pull people to their paid membership and their paid app and continue that deep conversation. You can see that they mentioned that their course helped them to feel well equipped and to share their expertise in the new to them format. Podcasting can be new, it can be a little tricky, and we make things simple. And then Nina. So Nina really wanted to add more value to her community, and she used podcasting to talk about the things that she was passionate about. Launching can be really tricky if you've never been in this space before, but she followed our steps and she earned listeners right away. So last year, she made it into the top 10% of podcasts in her category using the strategies she learned from our podcast course. And then last, I want you to meet Abby. So she runs a virtual and in-person fitness and nutrition coaching business, and she helps moms build their dream body while breaking toxic cycles. I mean, that is a big meaning. She was really overwhelmed by the tech and she let it hold her back. She actually had bought the equipment and then just didn't do it for a really long time. But with our help, she was able to launch an incredible podcast and now is out growing and supporting her community each and every week. I love what she says about our course. It's essential for anyone ready to put their voice out there with ease. So are you seeing how this all plays together? Are you thinking, okay, maybe I could have a profitable podcast of my own? Are you feeling like maybe this could be in your future? Well, if you're having those positive motivational thoughts, let's just talk about these next few slides and how we can support you. So I first just want to ask, why did you show up today? Maybe you have a mission and purpose in life, and you know that podcasting is an incredible way to spread that like wildfire. Maybe you are seeing money left on the table in your business, and you want to learn how to maximize this incredible platform. It's time to solve these concerns. You sat through this, soaking it all up because you know that it's time to do something in a different way. So if this sounds like you, if you want to get consistent eyes on your product, your service, your offer, if you want to create a podcast that's not only meaningful to you, but to your audience, if you're serious about learning how to spend less time and energy juggling strategies that only work a little bit, if you are ready for your podcast to create authority and brand recognition while adding profit to your bank account, I don't want you to waste your time any longer. Stop second guessing. Stop trying to piecemeal it all together by going to Google or taking 1 million people on coffee dates. We want you to figure this out for yourself. And that's where we come in. Amy and I, We are working moms. We have done just that. We have launched multiple podcasts with over 4 million downloads combined. We aren't tech wizards. We live in small Midwest towns. We don't have millions of social media followers. We don't have huge teams. I mean, in fact, when we first started Herself, I had less than 1,000 followers on Instagram. We have built a system that we know is the best course on the market. And we know this because we've taken the other courses. I have taken so many courses, you guys, and I just have seen where they have fallen flat. I would take one and it would talk about, how to create the content, but it wouldn't bring up how to edit it. It would talk about editing, but it wouldn't talk anything about how to monetize the show. Every single time I took a course, I was left with more questions than answers on how to really do this whole podcasting thing. And one thing that we love is that with our course, you get to work smarter, not harder. Nothing that Amy and I have shared with you is theory. This system that I'm about to tell you about is the exact system that we have taught hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other podcasters to help get their podcasts out into the world and make huge impacts inside people's earbuds every single week. You get to skip the confusion, you get to skip the tech frustration, and you get to connect with your community in a deep and meaningful way while also making money. So let's talk through what our course is all about. So we kick it off in Module 1 with the podcast details. This is everything about getting clarity on your niche, your podcast name, your description, your cover art, your format. And then Module 2 is where I make tech very simple and seamless for you. You're going to understand all the tech that's needed to confidently record and edit your podcast. And I can tell you, you can do it for less than $100. It is a very, very low upfront cost to do what we do every single week. Module 3 is all about how to create consistent content. So Amy includes everything about solo shows and guest interviews, really making sure that you get to the meat of the interview so that people are just at the edge of their seat wanting to listen week after week. Module 4 is how to successfully launch your show. We give you our entire launch plan, the templates, and more to make this experience a total success. Module 5 is how you can monetize your show. So we just touched the surface of it in this podcast or in this webinar recording, but in the podcast platform that we have created in that program, we go into everything from getting sponsors to selling your own offers. We have the templates, we have the emails that you need to send. We have all those pieces to really make sure that your show can make some money. And then Module 6 is how to scale and grow your podcast. This includes how to strategically use other platforms to see incredible growth and how to leverage other people's audiences to bring in new listeners. And not to sound like Vanna White, but we also have an incredible bonus module in there that's all about organizing your show. So this includes workflows and checklists to keep your show moving seamlessly week after week. We have been told that just that bonus module alone has saved hours in people's weeks with being podcasters. So to quickly recap, you're gonna get the 6 modules that will help you create, grow, launch, and monetize your podcast. In fact, we feel so confident that if you follow our system, your podcast could be out into the world within 30 days, just like many of our students have already done. Just imagine this consistent flow of new downloads. They're leading to new people. They're leading those people to your offers, and they're getting your hard work in front of those who are already searching for what is on your heart. Now, I'm telling you that this program is worth well over $800. I mean, many of our competitors are charging well over $800. It's definitely worth that. I've actually taken several podcast courses that have charged that, but they weren't as complete as ours. But because you attended this workshop, we are opening the doors for a limited time for only $322. So you can join for just $322 today when you pay in full and use code WORKSHOP75 at checkout. That's going to lock in the best price. There are some payment plans, so that's an option for you as well, but know that that discount is available for you for listening to this workshop. And you can dive in and get started with us right now by clicking that enroll button. So you go to herselfpodcast.com, click courses, and the information is right there waiting for you. It takes just a few minutes to get signed up, and I want to remind you that everything is available for you to start right now. You can literally log in and get started on your podcasting journey today. If you're worried about time, You can go at your own pace. So just know that you can go at your own pace. And this entire course is just a few hours total. So you could Netflix binge it on a weekend and learn the process, just in a day or two, or you can implement it in your own timeline and take, the 4 weeks to get it out into the world. Just know that we are handing you done for you templates. We are handing you strategies to make this the easiest shift to share the messages that are on your heart, the messages that the world needs. And one thing that I want you to know is that if you need support, you've got it. So maybe you have a question or you need some support along the way. We have an awesome members only area where you can receive support from over 100 other podcasting students. And on top of that, we have coaching calls that we can jump on a few times a year to get your questions answered. But again, we know that seeing is believing. This is our student Shayla of the Hey Shayla podcast, who reached 100,000 downloads in just over a year using our strategies. She then increased to over 200,000 in the following 8 months. She's been able to reach so many more people than on Instagram alone, using long form responses to some of her most common questions. And podcasting was the answer for that. All right, friends, we made it to the very end. Hope that you are inspired to start a podcast of your very own. I know that you can do it. And if you're ready to dive in, just head to herselfpodcast.com and click courses. And don't forget to use code WORKSHOP75 at checkout for the $75 off that pay in full price. That special discount is only available for workshop participants, and then it will go back up. So just jump on this discount if you think that podcasting could be part of even your distant future and you want to get in on that discount now. I just want to thank you for being here. We cannot wait to see how you not only use your podcast as a vehicle to connect with your audience, but also to generate real dollars into your family or into your business. All right, again, just head to herselfpodcast.com, click on courses, and we cannot wait to help you launch, monetize, and grow your show. We are so excited to work with all of those who joined today.